Welcome back to another episode of the Sales and Scale Marketing Podcast. I'm your host, Dmitriy.
Hey, everybody. I'm the co-host, Jaron Rabman.
And today we're going to be talking about a very interesting topic, fractional marketing teams, what they are, the purpose of it. And I'm sorry, you're going to have to listen to just the two of us talking this time around. No guests today, but guess what? We've got plenty to share with you, good insights and good information so you can start learning a little bit more. So, first thing that I'm going to really pose is imagine having an entire marketing team of strategists, designers, ad experts, content creators, SEO experts, you name it, working for your business, but never having to hire a single full-time employee.
So, that's a really good point. I mean, as you know, we know this firsthand. Here at Flagship Studio, we run a fractional marketing department for our clients. And today, that's one of the things we wanted to talk about. We want to get into it and kind of break it down and see how this model works, and why most businesses are choosing to actually go choose this model. What's in it for them? What's most important, and how you can use this to scale smarter.
Yeah. So today we're going to be sharing a little bit more of real world insights from our own experience and what works, what doesn't, and some bigger mistakes that businesses do when they're hiring marketing agencies, employees, things like that. So if you're a business owner or a marketer, even stick with us and make sure you listen all the way through.
Yeah, it's Dmitry. You and I we've been in the marketing business for our careers. This is what we've chosen. But before we jump into that, it's an ever evolving, as I was saying, people, it's an ever evolving field. It's constantly shifting and changing. But maybe we should just clarify to everybody they understand what is a fractional marketing team. Before we dive in, how do we define that?
All right. So there's a couple ways of describing it. The short form, it would be saying a fractional marketing team is essentially an on-demand marketing department. So instead of hiring individual employees for content, SEO, paid ads, and et cetera, whatever you might need as far as specific skill sets, you would then just get an entire team through an agency or through another company. But at a fraction of the cost, these teams would already be trained to work together. They already know how to collaborate. They got processes internally for all the different types of tasks that they're able to do. And then the main thing about it is, once you build that relationship with that fractional team, it almost as if they become a part of your own marketing department because they start learning your business, the ins and outs, and then you're training them on that as well. So they can be a lot more intimate with your business to help you market it. And I guess the bigger difference here versus like a traditional a la carte servicing from a marketing agency would come from in the format of when you're doing a fractional team, you're really paying for the staff and the skill sets and whatever they can do in the allotted time that's delegated to you versus paying for a project-to-project basis or a particular deliverable, just like an SEO account or just a website or whatever it is that you're looking to do. So it's more of a monthly type of thing, but I can tell you can typically get a fractional team with a variety of skill sets for the same cost you would spend on a full-time marketing manager. Absolutely. So it's a big difference.
Yeah, and I think that there's quite a few barriers and misconceptions that are out there in the market that people think, and I think you touched on quite a few of them. The value add, what you get, building an entire team. Fractional. So for the fractional cost of what it costs you to even hire just a single content marketing officer, CMO, you're building an entire team because that fractional, or should I say that a marketing officer or chief marketing officer is going to need not only their own tech stack, but they're going to need an entire staff to work with them. And by doing it on a fractional basis, you're saving that huge expense, helping you actually, from a financial standpoint in your company, stay on the healthier side, and then be able to build into and kind of, once your company becomes even bigger, because that's the whole goal, then to go ahead and hire that direct person who is your, chief marketing officer.
Yeah. Well, I mean, and here's the main thing about fractional services. Now, it's been around and it's taken a huge jump in popularity. What you'll start noticing is already fractional CMOs, fractional CFOs, all kinds of other services, but they're typically limited to the one person, right? So there's a lot of people out there that are pitching fractional CMO, fractional marketing officer, and chief marketing officer, I'm sorry. And they're supposed to be the ones that come in with just, let's say, strategy and just giving you those little pieces. But one of the things that's always a limitation, even in that model, is having the teams to implement the strategy, right? So usually in those cases, you're already paying top dollar for these, fractional CMOs, and they're expecting you to implement on your end through your own internal teams or through an agency or whatever else that you're using. Now, occasionally they'll upsell you all these services a la carte, but that's where fractional CMO services versus fractional marketing department services really take a differ. Because you technically, let's say in our style and in our servicing, right, you actually already get that fractional marketing officer or marketing manager, depending on what level you want for your department and the skill set and seniority level. But you would then still get all the rest of the implementation team. Perfect example, you come up with a campaign. Who's going to do the graphic design on any graphic deliverables? Who's going to do the writing for everything? Who's going to be doing the project management on everything? Who's going to be running the ads? Who's going to be publishing to social media? There's a lot that goes into running campaigns, whether it's a digital campaign, a campaign that's traditional, whatever you're doing. And without the team portion, it's just theories and ideas and just a plan. And to make it actionable, you need the teams. And this is where I don't know truly if I was the one that put this together originally as like the first one to do it, because I've seen other agencies now since we've launched the service that do something very similar. And this is actually something that I've started noticing higher end agencies doing a lot more frequently now versus the lower tier agencies. And the main difference being, instead of just providing you that one service for that a la carte, you're actually going to just take over all of their marketing, almost like an outsourced marketing department. And that model, in my opinion, especially coming from the marketing management world, where before I started my own agency, I was working as a marketing manager or a marketing director in various organizations, and I had to see firsthand what happens, with budgeting and marketing and everything else. And what will happen is they'll always try to hire that senior person to manage the marketing. But what ends up happening is they never have the budget. The clients don't have the budget for graphic design, content writing, ads, and everything else that's required. So now they got this big senior person that can't do anything. And then they start expecting them to do everything themselves. And they got limited skill sets, and they're better off used as a manager versus marketing coordinator, right? So they're taking senior officer, like senior marketing management people, and turning them into marketing coordinators. And it's a travesty, because then you don't get anything near the value that you would be getting if you actually used their skill sets to the fullest.
Yeah, I'll jump in and add that, just so that people understand a little bit more about who we are. You come from a marketing background or strategy marketing background. I come from the creative side of the coin. So, I'm always thinking from my end, when I'm looking at things, I'm looking at the creative side, the graphic side, the implementation side, the UI and the UX, and from that part of the strategy, is it working correctly? Are we hitting that note for the client or the partner that we're working with? So, and again, as you say, working with a fractional team, that team now has all those components. And not only does it have the marketing manager, strategist behind it, the seat that you that you take on, it also comes in and that creative side where you're bringing in the creative deliverables, be it the coding or the graphics or the combination of the three. And that's I think one of the advantages of working with a marketing firm that can offer fractional CMO services. Especially I find we do offer something a little bit unique. I've run into others that are doing things in that space. What we're kind of doing is we're bringing, I think, a more, I would say, cohesive,
holistic approach to marketing.
yeah, I think I'd go with holistic as the operable word, a holistic approach to it, and a holistic service offering to potential clients. Yep, yep. So, let's this conversation can go on. We enjoy talking about these things, and what the fractional marketing services can solve and what they can offer, but and everything you're saying is spot on. There's the three main things: it's the cost, the expertise, and the flexibility. Those are the three, I would say, main takeaways that someone who's looking to put together a fractional marketing team, or thinking of hiring a marketing officer should always keep front of mind always, but many of our clients have come to us with that kind of same, conundrum, that problem, because they're struggling to either hire people full time, or as a marketing team, or they're just wasting, funds jumping into that. They don't understand who they're actually really looking for, what they should be looking for, because they're busy running a business. Now they're starting to realize that, hey, I need to start looking at my marketing. I need marketing people, but they don't exactly know. Maybe you can shine a little bit of light on that. What exactly it takes to hire those people, find the right people, the dilemma of that, the access to the skills, what skill level that they need, and maybe looking to.
Let's break that down. But let's break that down then. Like let's really break it, that cost, expertise, and then flexibility components that you mentioned there. So let's talk cost alone. Okay. So there's so many different routes that a company can go for their marketing, right? Obviously, one direction is to internalize it, hire a marketing coordinator, manager, whatever else. They could have that person work with contractors for graphic design, content, anything else that they need, right? They'll still typically have those external relationships because they need them. And they'll fractionalize it in a sense to different contractors that don't necessarily all play nice together. And then now you've got all these different competing agencies and people trying to work together, or not even working together, just being kind of like partitioned, if that makes, ticketed by this one marketing manager. And it works to a certain degree. And trust me, I've been in that shoes. I've had to do that where I didn't have all the internal teams and everybody that I needed to do proper marketing management for a client when I was back in those days. But I can tell you it's not so smooth because those people don't work together. They don't know each other's processes. They don't have the same timelines. They don't have a direct communication channel usually where they're all able to coordinate, and they don't usually all want to meet at the same time with you. So,
I'll throw in a caveat there. You're talking about timelines. A lot of times we've also seen that is when we say timelines, we're actually meaning time zones. Sometimes you got people from different time zones working, and they're working in a ticketed format, and it just creates a headache.
Well, a project that should take 2 days takes a week because you're dealing with everybody's time zones, and some people are available here or then. If you're dealing with somebody in Asia, you've got to be up in the middle of the night to deal with them, and it's just a headache and a nightmare. So, and to add to that, back to the cost, it is costly because now you're working with independent contractors, and each one wants to get valued at what they want to get paid. So now you've got all of these different people you got to pay at different intervals for different types of projects, for different type of work, and let's just say your accounting department's going to have nightmare fuel dealing with that. And then on top of that, it's just a pain in the butt if you're a single member LLC owner, where you're having to now pay everybody individually. And now you're just creating a headache for yourself from a billing standpoint. So that's one way that people work. The second way now is they'll hire an agency, just a traditional marketing agency. They will hire them for a la carte servicing. And usually this is where, when I formed my agency, I wanted to do things a little bit differently over time, and I learned that a la carte is very, I would say from a marketing management standpoint, I would never do that. So why would I offer that to my clients? Because it is just one piece of the puzzle. SEO is maybe one piece of the puzzle. Ads might be a different piece of the puzzle. Your print strategy, your trade show strategy, whatever that you're doing. These are all different pieces of your larger marketing mix. And if you don't have the right mix, none of it works really well. And one piece without another is kind of pointless. Perfect example, your SEO. You got to have good content to do SEO, right? Effectively. You need link building. So a lot of times PR is one of those pieces that kind of comes in. You've got to do social bookmarking and have social signals coming in for that SEO mix as well. Now you should be doing social media and publishing, right? So now, like, something that you would have normally thought, oh, I'm just going to pay $700 a month for my SEO account, but it's not really doing a lot for you because you don't have the full strategy or surrounding it to really have a bigger impact, or at least fast enough. So you're just spinning your wheels and doing one thing, and not to mention you're putting on all your eggs in one basket. Your marketing. So
no. I think that covers a great lot of it. So I'm going to kind of maybe we move it a little bit from what we call around move it from the bottom deck of the ship. It's time to start moving it up and start moving up to the upper deck of how we run our flagship studio. So we love a lot of nautical jokes around here. We refer to them a lot, and you're going to hear it kind of throw them out there. But that's how we look at it. We look at it as marketing and sales. It's part of your ship that you're selling on. We want to try and make it that it's selling and get you selling on smooth ocean seas, not a choppy, tumultuous storm. Because a lot of people, they are business owners and companies, they are, let's face it, they are good at what they do. That's why they get into that line of business. And that's good. That's their passion. It's fantastic. And of course, with that comes later on the whole marketing and sales aspect and how the two have to work together. Marketing and sales are literally shipmates. They have to be on cue, on point, on the time, on the helm, either hoisting the sail or or I don't know, what do they say? Pulling the anchor, that's not like that. But one thing we don't want them doing is drilling holes in the bottom of the boat. So, that's kind of thing. So let's just jump right into it and let's get that bit more practical. If what makes our fractional marketing service a model a little bit different, and how we structured it, so that people understand if they're going to hire. What does hours look like, and how does it actually work?
Well, it's coming back to that whole component of making sure that people understand that cost, that expertise, and then the flexibility component still. So the last way that people would work with in an internal setting would be actually to build a whole marketing department, which dealing with we were kind of going from least expensive into starting to get a little bit more expensive with hiring a la carte agency services. So once you start getting every little piece, it starts getting more expensive. Then when you go to start to build a department internally, that's usually when you're really doing more advanced marketing. You really want something more intricate, intimate, right? To really represent your brand, and you've got the budgets to do it, right? But it gets real expensive because of all the staff you need to hire and bring in. I mean, at minimal, you need what? Some sort of management, so a marketing manager or a marketing director. You need project managers. You're going to need content writers, graphic designers. You're going to need ads experts if you're going to be running that direction. If you're doing SEO, maybe an SEO expert. There's so many people that can get involved, and those salaries add up. So something that most small businesses, their average monthly budget is anywhere for marketing is usually what I'm seeing people spending anywhere between $500 a month to $5,000 a month is on average what I'm seeing as a range, right? And depending on obviously how big the business is, your industry, and everything else, that kind of change. But most small businesses, they usually budget around $12,000 to $25,000 annually for marketing, which it's not a lot, but it is. You can work with it realistically, right? But it's very tight, and unfortunately, it's what they think is a lot, but it's really not a very big budget to be realistic.
Get into just that people have a better understanding. I know there's a little bit of a formula that is used. What are you looking to, what's your yearly expenditure? How much percentage should be you allocating to versus what's your profit margin? There are formulas to this to give people a bit of an idea of what they should be looking at. Maybe you can touch on
That's a good item. So I usually recommend a healthy budget is based on your expected gross revenue. so your projected gross revenue for the year, and usually between 5 to 8% is a healthy budget. Okay, it is not a high growth budget when it comes to marketing or aggressive budget. So typically going from 8 to 12% is the kind of the next batch of space or the range and that's more of a growth accelerated marketing budget. And then your last bit, which would be 12 to 15%. Now you're just showing off, and you got just stupid money to spend, and you're dumping it into Super Bowl ads. And I'm just kidding. I'm sure Coca-Cola and all these big companies spend a lot more than even just 15% because they just want to keep growing. Whatever they don't spend, they have to pay taxes usually on, so they invest back into the company. So usually when you're at a certain size, you just push back into marketing because you're just going to keep growing. But at the end of the day, realistically, 5 to 8% of your gross projected revenue for the year is what you should budget. And I think it's a healthy starting point. So, most businesses, unless you're a solopreneur where you're expecting to make 100 to 200,000, that's a lower budget, right? It's not a huge one. But once you start hitting over 200,000 in expected revenue, it starts opening up and actually letting you scale and grow a little bit better.
I would say, yeah, and that's a key point there. Thank you for going through those. But I think a lot of people forget that at the end of the day, there's a lot of the data drives it all. At the end of the day, it's all data and analytics. And if you know what the numbers are, I hate to use the word easy. It's not easy. It just it helps put things into perspective and helps drive the client or the prospective partner understand what they're looking at, what their investment is, so then they don't get sticker shock, and they understand they also have an understanding of like, okay, I am coming into this with my feet on the ground, pie in the sky. People come up and they say, well, I made X last year, but this year I want to make,
Well, and that's kind of that goal setting piece. So it's like, obviously when you're doing projections, right, to choose your marketing budget, you can have the world's wildest projections if you wanted to, or you say, I want to, get to $1 million this year. So, but if that's what you want to get to, you should estimate XYZ for expenditure because you got to spend money to grow, right? And obviously there's limitations and this and that, but in reality, the companies that do crazy numbers usually don't even set like I would say a roof to their budget, if that makes sense. Because what happens is, like, once you get into like a certain level in your marketing where you have enough budget to do things the right way, what happens is you really invest into your lead generation and business development, and you get to a point where you learn, what can I spend to acquire one lead? How many leads does it take to get one deal closed? And then you're starting to take that data and analytics that you're talking about, Jaron, and we're able to now start making projections realistically based on your marketing expenditure. And then you can say, forget it. I don't care about spending only 12 grand this year in marketing. If I know that I can, get one deal for every $1,000 I spend, but that deal is worth to me, 50,000, right? You don't care about spending that $1,000 per closing. And now, okay, well, if I spend 1,000, but let's say I want to get to, if I'm getting 50K from one deal and I want to get to, 500,000, I need to close 10 of those deals. So then you'll take that, 1,000 times 10. So you'll put 10 grand and just a one campaign. That's not even all of your budget. It's just one campaign, 10 grand or more, right? This is just very simplistic numbers, but you start breaking it down in that capacity, and then really it's just how much do you want to make, and then also comes down to now operations. Now, obviously, that's where you start getting those kind of restrictions. So you only grow as fast as you're able to support the business on the implementations or on the sales side, things like that. But but that's a good problem to have if you get your marketing to that kind of capacity, and you can scale your marketing and your expenditure there.
Maybe everybody get to that, have that talk.
People that do like that kind of model too, where like you can realistically determine what you're going to spend for ads and this and that to get this amount of leads. That's what a lot of the lead gen agencies would do, and that's kind of the model they push. Now, the thing about it, it's not super holistic, and it really does require you to just dump money into their systems and test until something hits, right? And depending on how good the agency is, they might already have a good strategy, or they might just be playing, scientist with your marketing budget and just, loosely spending it however they think might work. Now, then going back to kind of like you're in your own in-house direction that you want to have. This is where like having that internal marketing team is great, because now you're really controlling expenditure and you're owning the means of production. So in the long run, at a larger scale, you save money, right? That's why Coca-Cola and these large companies, they got their own marketing departments in-house, but then they still use outsource certain parts and third parties for certain pieces, but they'll always have the in-house, because nothing is going to protect the brand and deal with the brand the right way than your own internal teams. And plus, you need them to understand how to coordinate and organize with everybody that's external. But from like the cost standpoints now, like you've gotten, for a team of 5 or more, you've gotten several $100,000 of annual budget now you allocated just to teams. That's not even ads or anything else once you get to that point. So this is where you've got fractional marketing coming in, being very appealing, because in all reality, an average, let's say, marketing manager salary is anywhere between $50,000 to $80,000 a year annually. But let's say with us, our higher end of our fractional marketing services is around $5,000 a month, which, you do the math, pricing yourself at about the cost of one marketing manager, that if you were hiring internally and having to pay the taxes on them, having to put your payroll expenses, your benefits and everything else now, right? It would cost you more than just that $50,000, even if you put a $50,000 salary. But you can do the fractional marketing at around the same price, but you'll get unlimited graphic design, content writing. So you get a content writer, you get a graphic designer, you get a marketing manager, right? In our core packages, and then of course we'll have different team members for ads, social media, things like that, SEO if we need it. We bring in the skill sets that you need. Now you got a whole team for the same cost as one person.
Exactly. And that's what I think makes fractional marketing and why we're hearing more and more about it. A lot of people are in a budgetary concerns. Let's face it. Every company wants to say make more money or have a healthier bottom line. It's not about making money, it's just having a healthier bottom line to be able to function, to be able to operate. And if they're spending less on salary, they got more that they can push in other directions and towards other employees within their business or other services, increase their production, increase their ad spend, things like that. So let's dive a little bit deeper in here, and let's just say if someone was going to hire us, what does our process look like? Can we maybe touch on a little bit of what is unique about our process? What are we looking at?
Okay, so unlike that a la carte model that most people go through, we always start out with building the fundamentals and the foundational elements for the client. Because one of the things that we notice, especially with small businesses, is they are not equipped or set up even from data standpoint, find out foundational elements or anything to even do, for example, lead generation, right? If you don't have the sales team set up the correct way, or CRM, or any of these other components that all now kind of tie in as, that would create consequences for not having those things once you start generating leads, right? Perfect example, you can generate, let's say, Google Ads leads, right? But if your company is not equipped to handle and capitalize and maximize your ability to convert those leads, you're just leaving money on the table and you're wasting a lot of money. Whereas if you optimize all your workflows, you have an SOP for your sales team, you know exactly how every single lead is going to be handled, the timelines on that, what follow-up they're going to be doing. These are super important things to know up front and already have in place, which is what we focus on at the beginning. It's about the setup, strategy, foundations. And that's usually the first few months is just building up that. Because I don't want you to spend a single dollar on ads if you're not going to be able to convert any of it, right? And the name of the game nowadays is AI and automation as well. And one of the things that we really do focus on is figuring out where can we automate certain processes for your business, where it saves you time, money, but still allows you to be personable and attentive to your clients. So it doesn't seem like everything is completely automated, right? So these are the foundational pieces that we always start on. Then this is where the flexibility portion comes in with a marketing, fractional marketing team. Unlike a la carte servicing, where you get this is all you get on a monthly basis. You get just the SEO, 4 articles, you get some backlinks and a report at the end of each month. It's not packaged in that same capacity. Like I said, you're really purchasing the fractional time of this marketing team. You could really have them do anything you really wanted to. So at the beginning, we'll be taking those resources and pointing them more towards those setup and foundational elements. As those are all complete, we start looking for low-hanging fruits for marketing campaigns that we can start running and testing out the processes, right? And then also on top of that, adding like a consultative portion of it as well, because there's certain things that business owners don't know that they could be doing for free on their own. And most marketing agencies are not going to tell you what you can and you can't be doing easily on your own. Perfect example, everyone's going to push PPC ads on you, but you don't always hear LSAs or local service ads, because local service ads are a little bit easier to set up. You can monitor them a lot simpler. The reporting, everything is very basic and rudimentary on that. And honestly, I don't see why a business owner couldn't set up their own LSAs. But most agencies are going to push you towards PPC because now they can bill you monthly because you don't understand how it works, right? Whereas if you're doing more of a marketing department, our goal is, you're paying us the same regardless each month, but our goal is to maximize our impact on your organization. And we're looking for all those low-hanging fruits to make sure everything's set up. So you've got this, this beautiful marketing mix working in the background. So now all your eggs are not in one basket. You've got the right fundamentals things set up in the background to sell more, convert more, and follow up and have a good presence, right? And then ultimately at the end of the day, you're going to get a better ROI. And the other thing is not to even forget about is most marketing agencies will never do what I like to call sales support elements, right? There's a whole side of marketing that people don't really talk about, which is the sales support. So marketing sales support. And that's essentially, let's say most companies, they are not built off immediately from the marketing. They're usually built off of a sales team, right? Those people that go out there, that door knock, that, do the cold calls, do all those different elements, right? Those people need support. And they need good marketing collateral materials, everything in the background to make the company look legitimate, have the social standing, the social proofing to support their claims when they're selling. So this is where marketing internally becomes very important. Your price sheets, the image of your company, automating your testimonials and your review processes. These are all small little wins that a fractional team could do for you. Yeah, training, right? Teaching, the CRMs and how to use it, setting up data analytics the right way. These are the things that your fractional team can do that an a la carte agency is not going to do. Your marketing manager is not going to have the bandwidth to do on their own. And of course, if you're trying to build that in-house team, sure, they could do that, but it's going to be very costly.
Yeah. I mean, at the end of the day, I think what people need to realize when they're working with a fractional marketing team, especially, and I'm going to teach our own born working with Flagship, and what differentiates us is, again, coming back to our nautical themes here, you are building yourself a crew to sail your ship. So you are the captain of the ship, you are the owner of the company or proprietor of the business, but then you need a crew. And we bring that whole crew with you. We bring you the engine room to drive it, but then we also bring in the engineers. We bring in the people who know how to hoist and lower the mast. People who know how to work on deck, or people who know how to work below deck. So when I say on deck, I mean the people who, so we say forward-facing, make the graphics look good, and things like that. When I say below the deck, the people who are doing the technical stuff with the code, with the SEO, with the PPC, and the analytics. And then, one of the things we really strive to do is we do a lot of check-ins with our clients. We are literally spend a lot of time sitting down with them, going through the nitty-gritty, helping them understand. Because once we understand how their business works, we now are a very integral part of helping them drive that bottom sell that shift.
And going into that, for example, I don't know how many hours a week we spend just with clients on the phone, in Zoom calls. I know every single client, one of our requirements is they have to have a minimal 1 hour call weekly, same day usually, each week, to make marketing a focus in their business. And every time we get into one of these calls, we already have very specific goals in mind when we get into it. We have homework from the previous week. We have homework for the business owner and homework for ourselves. And then, of course, there's always those things that we're doing kind of on autopilot because we already got it figured out and set up for the client, and we're just handling it. Things like newsletters, content, social media, SEO, those are all very automated things that we just do in the background, obviously. But then we bring that all together into those calls to give you updates, make sure that you understand how all that's working together, and then giving you more ideas on how we can expand that marketing mix and try to really have a more holistic strategy and really approach all the different ways that you can generate more leads and business, and of course optimize your business.
Yeah. So let's get keeping it real. We want people to understand what this is all about. Let's maybe address some of the concerns and debunk some of the myths.
Okay.
We love the fractional marketing model. But let's face it, there's no magic bullet here. And again, it all comes down to you're creating an internal, external marketing component. And there are challenges. Maybe we can just dive into those a little bit.
Okay. One of the biggest issues that exists, especially with like agencies in general, is they allocate such a minimal amount of time to the client. And sure, over time they'll learn a little bit here and there, especially through trial and error. But they about the client's brand, brand voice and everything else. But it's not the same as having like that in-house team, right? And one of the things about our teams, and like let's say a traditional marketing agency will have their teams working with a lot of clients. They'll squeeze out as many clients as they possibly can with a team. Now, what's a little bit different with our fractional teams is we build, let's say, a marketing department, and then we'll allocate that team to 4 clients. That's it. That's why it's called fractional. So imagine having a timeshare that you bought into, but instead of a timeshare, it's a timeshare of a marketing department. And that team only works on those 4 clients, so they get to know them intimately. They get to understand the content style. They get to understand the communication, the niche little intricacies of their particular business type, right? You don't get that in that at the same speed, at least, with a traditional agency approach where they're doing a la carte. Nor do they really care to get that deep knowledge into your agency if they're just selling you, let's say, just an SEO account or just a social media account, right? Because they don't have that need. But that's where everything has like that shortcoming where they don't know the full picture. They don't know all the things that are going on in your marketing strategy, and they don't really work together with anything else that you've been working on. So this is where that component is really important. And knowing your brand voice, knowing what makes sense for your business and what doesn't make sense, understanding your audience, right? These are all the things that your fractional team is going to do far better than a regular marketing agency would do. Now, again, the alternative to having that type of intimacy is building your own internal department. And like I said, that is not going to come at a $3,000, $4,000, $5,000 a month price tag. That's going to be easily in the $20,000, $30,000, $40,000 plus a month in salaries range. Once you build the same type of team. So, it's fractional marketing I'd like to call it a stepping stone for building that internal team. And that's one of the things that we actually do. It sounds kind of funny. Eventually our goal is to grow you to a point where we grow you out of our job. So we grow ourselves out of the job, if that makes sense, because our goal is eventually to get you to have that internal marketing department, because that's where, it's going to be more cost effective and efficient, because you're going to need more resources than what we just provide in our fractional service, right? But this is where we can start helping you train and bring in those employees, hiring them, everything else as well.
A lot of hand holding, and that's it, because if you, as I said, we want you to get to a point where you outgrow our services. And that means if you can outgrow our services, you're even healthier, your bottom line is bigger, and you're ready for that next level. So we are that intermediary step before you take that bigger. But I'd even go maybe one step further, and I would say, well, what makes us a little bit more unique, we're not only just a fractional marketing officer, the CMO, we are actually the fractional marketing department. So we kind of both the CMO / CMD, I would call it, that department. That you look at that whole group of people that's in that department, and think, when we sit down with a client or a partner, because again, we offer quite a different variation of services. We look to understand what do you need us, and how many people are we going to allocate to you to resolve, bring to you the services that you need. And I think maybe that's the way to look at it. So yeah, definitely more fractional marketing department services.
Yeah. Now, another thing that people, especially with agencies, everybody likes to think, it's commonly thought about, is agencies like to cookie cutter things. And that is, I'm going to break the veil here, but agencies do cookie cutter as much as they can. And there's obviously operational reasons for it. And it's not that it should be knocked, or it's not necessarily a bad thing. But in the eyes of certain clients, that cookie cutter element is not personalized enough to their business, and they don't like it. Now, with fractional, it's really not the same case, because you've got that agile adaptability built into the service where, for example, just because we've been doing, our team's been allocating resources towards doing social media for you, but let's say it doesn't work as good as you anticipated, and you'd rather reallocate those resources towards a different type of marketing. Guess what? We can do that. Or we can minimize the resources use on it, just let's say maintain a presence only, and then take the rest of the resources and put it towards another campaign. But you could do that on a month-to-month basis with fractional marketing, because again, you're not paying for an a la carte service or a templated service. You're paying for the skill sets and the strategies that should be adaptable and change with time. And this is especially pertinent if you're a company that has seasonality. There's a lot of companies up north, let's say lawn care companies in the northern states. When it snows, you're not cutting grass anymore. What are you doing? You're doing ice removal, you're doing snow plowing, all that type of stuff instead during those seasons. And guess what? The marketing changes.
Absolutely.
And you got to be able to have somebody that can adapt and change the marketing strategy, or have already a plan for this in place. Your ad campaigns are going to swap. What you're going to be talking about in your content swaps. And you also have to be able to be predicting when that change is coming and being ahead of the curve and already starting to advertise before it's only a need, like an immediate need. Because usually by the time it's an immediate need, now you're competing with everybody else. But if you're on top of mind already before they have that need, boom, you're the first call.
So before we start, we're gonna jump into another thing that we like to touch on. Maybe we can give somebody some heads up of something they shouldn't. One of the things that the business should never do when hiring a fractional.
Oh, okay. I have a real good one, and I don't know if it's gonna piss somebody off, but don't expect a fractional team to just do everything for you. And what do I mean by that? Like, don't expect that you will be uninvolved. Don't think you're just going to hire and walk away, because that is just the biggest load of crock, and the worst thing you could possibly do for your business in the first place. Marketing is one of those things that the business owner, or at least at the beginning, the business owner needs to have a hand in. They need to understand it, because one of the things that we like to do is make sure that you're educated on what we're doing and why we're doing it. Because you having that background and understanding, number one, make sure that you're not being taken advantage number one. Number two, it allows you to have that deeper understanding of how everything works. So you can make better decisions for your business. And then the last piece is once you are ready to delegate that to someone on your team internally, you can start doing that and opening up your schedule. But it all starts with you being actively participating in helping steer this. I mean, what our slogan for the company is actually sail together, scale together. And it rings true in everything that we do as a company. You know, it's a partnership. It's not, you're not just contracting us. It's a partnership. We're on that same boat with you, and you're on the same boat with us. So if you expect us to only steer it, great. We may do amazing, but guess what? You're the one with that industry knowledge and experience to really better steer your own ship. And in fact, you should captain your own boat regardless if it's your boat, right?
So you bring up, so touching on that, you bring up some very interesting points, and So how do we understand, better understanding the brand voice? Maybe we can touch on that a bit, understand a little bit more about, the understanding how the in-house team works, with our clients, because again, as you said, they need to steer the ship. We're their crew. It doesn't work the other way around because they have the vision. We're helping them just to get that vision. So I would say, how do we go about, understanding that? It comes down to that onboarding process. When we're sitting down with the client, it might sound weird, but we don't do a single thing physically until we really understand the soup and nuts of what their business is all about. So, the onboarding, I would say one of the things I think I can teach our own horn or raise our own flag is, or hoist our own sail about that is we are really good at SOP. We drive that, getting it down to the nitty gritty where we understand what the company is all about, what they do, where they go, where they want to be, what's their brand voice, who's their client, who's their optimal customer, where do we find that client, how do we target them, so we go through this slew of I'd say, investigative process with our clients. Understand them, we're building that relationship. They understand how we think and we understand how they think. And as I said, it becomes that relationship, we want to sail together with you.
Yeah. No, I mean, and that kind of discovery at the beginning is super important. But the one thing is that discovery never ends. That makes sense. Because brands evolve, they adapt at the change with the times. Maybe your focus at the beginning of your business is smaller projects. Eventually, let's say you start building your reputation, you start doing larger commercial projects. Who knows? Like every business is a little bit different. And to be able to adapt and evolve, you might go through a rebrand in the middle of, running your business, or you might have to completely shift how you approach your lead generation and who you target. And these are the types of things where being agile and flexible, right, as the fulfillment department from your marketing, it comes really in handy. And us continuously meeting and talking and learning and adjusting as you see fit really has a huge impact on the bottom line for your business.
Yeah. I mean, I would say one of the things is, a lot of companies and brands that are starting out realize is over time, your brand strategy and your branding is going to evolve. Some of it you may even change. You may even start off and going, I want to target a certain, segment of the market. And then within a couple of years or a couple of months, realize, hey, that's not my target audience. My target audience is something else. But how do we know that? Through that onboarding process, through that deep diving, through that trial and error, looking at things, a lot of testing and seeing where things are in the market for you. So, and that's something that we definitely enjoy the process of jumping on, and that investigative process. Because one thing I can tell you about us as a marketing company, and again, is we get to be that proverbial fly on the wall and to visit so many companies and businesses and see what's unique about them. It gets to actually dive in there and say, hey, this, I can tell you, I've met over my career so many people in so many different businesses, and I'm like, that's an interesting business. I would never have thought just how they went about it, how they built their business, how they market, and how they go about all the things. So with that being said, maybe let's talk a little bit about maybe the future of marketing and business. I mean, for those, we'll throw a link in the bottom. We just did a podcast actually with a very interesting guy about AI and AI in marketing. So we'll put the link in the bottom. You should go check it out. I think you'll really enjoy that. But maybe we can touch on beyond the AI a little bit about maybe what's the future of marketing? Where are we?
Well, okay. I think this is where it's interesting, because you do have things like AI, and one of our previous guests actually, he did a prediction. He said that he predicts in the next 5 years you'll have the first $1 billion company with one employee using AI. Now, as much as I would hate to see that happen in marketing, I don't think it will, because I'll be 100% honest. I'm tracking AI. We use AI to really streamline things and to be able to keep costs down now for clients. But the main thing that I would tell you about AI, it doesn't have the soul. It just regurgitates what everybody else does, right? It doesn't go out of its way to come up with something original for you. And even if it could, the limitations, let's say in technology right now, you can't really run a full marketing department off of AI. Now, maybe in the future, certain things will adapt, but it's still going to be needing somebody with the brain power to organize everything so it actually makes sense, right? And oversee it and then approve things and everything else. So you still are going to have, perfect example, you'll have robots, right, in the future, but you're still going to have technicians and people that can service the robots and reprogram them and, smack the whip on them when they decide to go Terminator on us. But you're going to have the same thing with AI. You're going to have to. You got to have some checks and balances. You got to have someone actually read it, because one of the biggest mistakes that I'm seeing people right now doing is like, oh, I can automate all my marketing with AI. And you know what I tell them? Go for it. That's what you think marketing is. You're not going to go very far with it. Because sure, you can do things like writing articles, some basic SEO principles, things like that with AI. But again, it's most of the time, especially if you don't know how to use AI the right way, it sounds robotic. It doesn't sound natural. And here's where the real kicker is. We have another company that we've been dealing with that they created a tool, especially with it's related to AI search. Now, so everybody knows about Google search, but AI now is an emerging search engine in a sense, because you can use AI to crawl the entire web space and find answers to things or recommendations for things now. And one of the things that this company was telling us is it's asking the AI, what are you looking for when you're coming up with the search results for that particular request from a client? And what it says is it does not like to be that serpent eating its own tail. So when the AI notices blatant AI use in like articles and content writing that does not sound humanistic, it doesn't sound natural, right? It is rejecting those types of websites and articles and content in place for the human-made content. It does not like itself. So it quite literally, the AI goes, ooh, that's me. Yuck. Bye. So if you think AI is going to do everything for you, you're in for a rude awakening, because that's never going to happen in that exact capacity. You're always going to need someone like us, even if it's just to steer the ship with your AI or to train you on how to use AI. There's always somebody in there in room for a marketer in one way or another.
I would also say, I'll jump in and I'd say, from the graphic side of it, AI has come a long way. I mean, there are amazing graphic image generators out there, but when you're looking for that realism or that thing, a lot of people, when you start looking at it, you start seeing six-fingered people, a cat with 3 legs. When you really look at it, the graphics is not quite there yet. We're getting there. It's getting better. There are even some video generators, but they're limited in their scope, especially the free ones in the quality again, and also within the time that, the size of the video that it can deliver, the timestamp. It can go 5 seconds, 10 seconds. That's a lot of data. Creating data for 10 seconds in the video eats up a huge amount of file space. So these things are coming. They're coming fast. They're coming fast and furious, but we're still not there. And then, when, as I said, prompting, learning to prompt, and then learning to prompt to generate an image, it's very different than learning to prompt for give me a blog on the subject. You have to get very, very detailed in, basically vision your image and then explain it in words, what you want the prompt to create. And you'll be surprised. I challenge people. I tell you, go into ChatGPT, go ChatGPT image, write the most amazing prompt you want for an image, and think before you hit enter what you think the image is going to be, and hit enter and see what answers you get. You'll be surprised. And some of the stuff is amazing, but again, still not there. I've seen some other things, especially when you're dealing with very detail-oriented stuff like precious metals, diamonds, things like that. AI can't really get it right. It has problems. It thinks very well, but it can't generate them yet. So you're still going to need your graphic designers and your photographers and and your videographers, and you're still going to need somebody to write the right prompt and then go back and revisit the blog and make sure that it's written correctly and humanize it. And that's at the end of the day. AI will do great things for you, but if you don't put that human aspect back into it, your marketing is going to become, as you said, it's going to become mechanized, it's going to become fake.
And this is where, going back to the future of marketing and marketing agencies and everything else, I do truly believe there's going to be a larger shift in focus away from a la carte servicing, especially as the AI adapts and gets better and better for the tools to lower the costs of certain types of marketing. And then, just coupling it with teams, a team of marketers with AI, good God, the things they can accomplish versus just you by yourself with it is a huge difference in quality, the final result and everything else, and the effect and the actual tracking and everything else. Because the AI, it's not going to set up your CRM. It's not going to help you track your sales. It's not going to help you close the deals necessarily right now. And that's one of those things where, a fractional team like us, we'll make those recommendations. We know what needs to go into building that sales and marketing process, because sales and marketing they're joint to the hips, at the hips. So, to the future of marketing, honestly, I do truly believe it's going to shift more away from a la carte servicing and pushing more towards fractional teams, right? The keyword teams versus independent contractors. Because then, the collaboration component is very important for having more higher end marketing being conducted and making sure that everything's done in similar styles, consistency within the brand guidelines, etc. So having that is kind of what's going to end up happening on that end of it. And then AI is going to play a huge role in just optimizing those business processes. So, it can be a lot more achievable to do marketing on a larger scale for a smaller business as well. But the business owners are going to need to educate themselves on these tools.
I would say, one of the things that we've noticed a lot, and we've been talking about this, amongst ourselves is, because, and again, computers, the internet have all gotten better, faster since we started. One of the things I think in the near future, that everybody, I think, if you want something, if hey, you want a hot tip right now, the tip I would say to you is video. Video marketing rules supreme. And for the next 3 to 5 years, that's where all the business should focus. And static imagery is great. Add it in as part of your B-roll. Always good to have good product images. Always good to have those amazing headshots, your branded imagery of your products and your people that work with you. But video content rules supreme.
So I'm going to point out one little piece here, especially because video is really where everything's at. Is you're going to have video, AR, VR content. That's where the future of marketing advertising is going to really be, in my opinion. But take a look at your favorite Marvel movie, your favorite Netflix shows, whatever else. And notice one thing at the very end of every single show or episode or movie, the credits, and just remind yourself how big of production teams they had to have to give you that quality of entertainment. And think about it from a marketing standpoint, and think about how trying to do all that work, especially with, say, video moving forward for your businesses where you need to start showing up, how hard that's going to be doing that by yourself, even with an AI. So this is where the fractional teams and everything else really comes in, because you're getting all of these different levels of expertise. Sure, they'll use AI to cut costs, but they're going to just blow you out of the water in work product than what you could do on your own. And that's why, I would double down on fractional teams and the way that it works like that. And just say, like, that's going to be the future. Like, the bigger agencies, like, I can tell you this right now, the higher end agencies are already doing fractional marketing departments, right? So if you really watch and follow these market trends, if you look at what the bigger agencies are doing, compare it to the small ones, you'll notice where it's going, right? And then soon enough, you're going to see smaller agencies jumping on the same boat. They're going to package it a little bit differently. They would just, they would still have contractors and everything else, but they would just internalize. So they have contractors and they'll handle the payment of all these people. So you no longer have to find a graphic designer, content writer, whatever else. They can have all those contractors on deck.
Right. Exactly. So maybe some advice for people that are considering this approach. What advice? How would you say to them when they're looking at?
Yeah. So I would tell you, fractional marketing is not for everyone at every stage of their business either. So early on, if your budget is $12,000 to $20,000, you're starting to get into the realm of getting into fractional marketing. The realistic way of looking at it is this: if you're able to support at least $3,000 to $4,000 a month in marketing expenditure, that's realistically where fractional marketing will start having a bigger impact for you, because you're not only now being able to pay for the implementation and the guidance and the work, but you're also able to now support it with some ad spend and additional third-party costs that are going to be associated with really expansion and growth, and being able to now start doing more in-line lead generation and growth for the business. So if you're at that stage of your business where you can afford that $3,000 to $5,000 a month, it's a good starting point. Or if you're in a position where your business is considering hiring your first marketing employee in-house, I would tell you that do not hire that marketing manager, because I'm sorry, I've been in those people's shoes. If you don't have the budget to support that role, plus a subsidiary marketing budget to give them tools and contractors and additional ways of actually getting the vision done, then you can't afford a marketing manager. That makes sense. So you're better off for that same budget of one marketing manager hiring the fractional team that could do all the things already built into that one salary. And then you just spend a little bit more anyways for the ads if you need it or things like that. But, that's usually when you would, engage with someone like us. Or if you sell high ticket items and you can get a good return easily off of just a few closings a month, that's another way that it could make sense to hire a fractional team as well. But the biggest thing I would tell everybody is, even when you hire people, don't forget you got to be involved. And if your goal is to just dump it on someone else, you're not going to succeed with your marketing. You got to be involved.
Well, hey, and all good points to, and these are, I think, important points people should always consider. Because at the end of the day, again, you being the business owner or the company, you want to drive the bottom line. You want to, but at the same time, you want to make sure that you're, having a healthy relationship with the people that you're engaging with, your employees too, of course. You don't forget about your employees. It's a healthy relationship in office or in-house, as much as the relationship and healthy relationship it is with your we'll call it your external people, like your fractional marketing. So I can tell from my own experience, working at certain companies, and then having to be that working with other ad agencies or marketing agencies there's a lot of friction, and it can sometimes get very unhealthy very quickly.
Yeah. Oh. So to summarize, and so we can wrap up this episode and this topic. So, there is a time and a place for fractional marketing, and I do see this as something that more and more businesses are going to be attracted to as they grow, especially once they've been in business for at least 2-3 years and they kind of know they've already built their referral traffic, their referral business up. Now they're wanting to really systemize things and really expand. But the main thing is this: there's a lot of benefits to fractional marketing. The top 10 reasons to really go with the fractional marketing department direction is, first off, access to a full marketing team without the cost of a full-time marketing in-house team. That's number one. Number two, the flexibility and scalability. You're no longer needing to worry about recruiting, staffing, hiring, firing of these marketing minds. And you likely don't even know what goes into hiring a good marketing employee. So let an agency like us handle that for you. Number three would be the execution. So you'll have the ability to execute a lot faster with a lot of pre-built expertise already into the different types of marketing, because the team's already trained to execute certain types of campaigns as is. It makes it a lot easier instead of you having to try to figure it out and then tell them what to do. The next piece would be the strategic leadership without the C-suite salaries, right? So you don't got to pay an absorbent amount of money for a C-suite executive to just tell you what to do and then nothing gets done, right? You actually can get that type of strategy, suggestions, plus the implementations work. The fifth reason would be getting better data-driven and clear ROI, because one of the focuses in fractional marketing is to set up the foundational elements so you can actually track your ROI and know where your lead sources are and things like that. So it's one of those deals that is super important. And if you do have some certain team members that already pre-exist, seamless integration with your existing teams, because we basically just integrate as another team member almost, if that makes sense, as part of your in-house marketing. So if you do have already some marketing teams and you just want to supplement, it's a great fit as well. The seventh reason is like specialized skill sets that we can offer you, and a kind of an a la carte piece to add into your package, that if you were just trying to spend, if you're trying to hire that person, it would be a lot more expensive for the salary for you. And maybe you wouldn't need them full time, but we can grab that person's expertise and fractionalize their time so it makes sense for what your account needs. The eighth reason would be just the cost efficiency and lower overhead. That's a given. And then the last piece is just some more fresh perspective, innovation. Our teams are constantly looking for the newest technologies. We're trying to figure out how to optimize processes, things like that. So you don't got to keep up with that as much, because we'll help you stay current. And then the last one is, because you're not managing all these different elements for marketing all by yourself, it's going to save you time, money, and then resources from internally, and allow you to actually focus on growth, sales, and the things that you already know how to do to make yourself more money. So that would be the final piece of the top 10 top reasons to hire a fractional marketing team. And hopefully that's a good place to end it.
I mean, it's been a great. I think it's been a great conversation. And we're diving into this. I think you and I have been wanting to do this podcast for quite some time. Just the two are talking about the advantages of a fractional marketing, why it's becoming so popular, why we're seeing more and more of it in the market. Just being able to spend some time, you and I, talking about these things and why we think it can be right for a lot of clients or customers. So with that, I'm going to say to people, hit the link below or top, wherever we put it in final post-production here. Book a call. We'd love to talk to you and see if fractional marketing is the right fit for you. And no harm, no foul. We love talking to everybody. So, if it's great, we can work together. If not, maybe we can help you with something along the line, and maybe, some suggestions. So Thank you. It's been great, man. I really appreciate you taking the time today and getting to talk about this amazing topic.
Yeah. So, I mean, we've covered a lot, but I mean, the main things is it was really shedding light to a service that people don't really know about, to be honest with you. It is not a commonly heard, marketing buzzword is what I would like to call them. Everybody knows SEO, everybody knows PPC, social media, blah, 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 but they don't know the managerial components of it or doing it at a certain scale or really anything like that goes towards integrating all of these buzzwords together to actually have a real, what we call marketing strategy or media mix or marketing mix, whatever you want to call it, right? So at the end of the day, if you're a business owner and you're considering either hiring an internal marketing manager or you already have a marketing manager, but you want to supplement them with the right teams and resources to succeed in their role, it's a good fit to chat with us. At the worst case scenario, book a call with us. We'll even give you 6 months of Go High Level CRM for free just for talking to us. We'd love to get you started and just at least steer you in the right direction for your marketing strategy, even if we don't decide to do business together. So, anybody that got this far, thanks for listening, and hopefully you got some value out of hearing about this new type of marketing. And
on that ending note, we are a flagship, so we do have a nautical joke, maybe something.
Oh, okay, all right. So yeah, so all right. So this is I'm going to ask you a joke here, Jaron. All right. What did the sea monster eat for dinner?
What does the sea monster eat for dinner?
Fish and ships. Fish and ships. Okay, not chips, ships. Ha ha ha. All right, there's our pun for the day. Even though you were making a lot of them earlier. Anyways, well, thanks everybody for listening in. Make sure to like, subscribe, and follow our content. We'll have plenty more. And if you want marketing tips and just being in the loop with what's going on in the marketing industry, be sure to follow and learn more.
Yeah, and then we have a blog, of course, on our website. So feel free to drop in some great tips there. Our writers are actually actively writing and posting stuff and giving people tips and ideas and helping them just stay top of mind of what's happening in the industry.
Well, again, it's a pleasure. Thanks for tuning in, and see you next time. Wait, before you drift away and leave this video, be sure you tap follow on our profile. And for more marketing tips or to help you ride the waves of success, be sure to reach out to us. If you got a question, drop it in the comments, and we might be able to feature it next.